himself a mohawk. He's coming back from Stash Fest. Throw a little Terminator. One BB must have got me right in the head. I thought his shell hit.
Ping!
Oh, feel it shake. Holy jeez. Rocks up there. Look at the rocks flying. Holy. Wakey, wakey. Well, just off night shift and nobody's driving.
It was snowing here yesterday. Just driving my side-by-side to work every morning and camping over the edge here, over the divide. Way down on those hills over there, right along the river. One more spot to make it here. If I survive this, then we should be okay. Or we didn't think he was going to make that corner. He did, but he didn't make this one. At the bottom of here. When I came around the corner, he was in the trees. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Way Back Wednesday, where we just talk about the old days of my life. So this trip takes place in June of 2011, and I'm in my old motorhome. I had an old Class A motorhome, like a 1984, 83, something like that. Pace Arrow. Anyways, we're in the motorhome. We're towing a trailer with my side-by-side on it. I had a brand new side-by-side at the time. It was another Chinese side-by-side, but it was brand new, and it was that was the one I called Something Wong. And boy, we had a lot of fun in that old thing. But it was brand new at the time. And so we left from home here in Hinton, Alberta. That's where I live. And I was working out at a mine called the Cheviot Mine, which is now closed and they're reclaiming it. That mine opened up in 2004 and it closed in 2020. And it was quite a controversial mine at the time because it was so close to Jasper National Park. It backs right onto it. It's just in a beautiful, spectacular area. But it was a mining area always. Like, actually, I think... No, it was. Before Jasper National Park was even there, I believe. It was a coal mine, right? It started in 1911, and it ran till June of 1950, and then they just kind of shut the doors overnight. And anyway, this was a cool place. It was the tallest town in Canada at the time, and it had the tallest graveyard at the time, which still stands. It's still the tallest graveyard in Canada. Just got this little graveyard there now, but anyway, yeah, so it's pretty cool because this is like kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It's out in the middle of the mountains, and people lived there for all those years, from 1911 to 1950. Just so many memories, so many things happened, right? Anyways, so there was another mine just close to there, and it was called the Cardinal River Coals. Was the name of that mine. Cardinal River it was referred to as. Anyway, it ran from 1969 till I think about 2002, I think it was. And then they basically shut down. They were out of coal, and that's when they applied, or they tried to get this new Cheviot mine going. And there was, I think, a year or two, and eventually it ended up firing up. And it fired up in 2004. Now, right where the mine was where we used to always camp and quad, and it was a huge off-road place because it was basically an old abandoned mine that was just left, right? So anyways, I'm rambling on here, but basically I'm just, in the video, I'm going to be driving through it, okay? And I have to drive past Mountain Park, which was the name of that town. Mountain Park was right where Cheviot Mine is. So I have to drive past the mine, and I'm kind of like, as I go, I'm narrating and kind of talking about the mine itself and where we're going next, and as it goes on, eventually I get to the camp spot, and so you're gonna see some quadding in there. Just I'm not gonna. I'm going to be bouncing around a little bit. You're going to see some mining, but I'm basically just going to talk about it. And there's another cool thing. They were excavating this one area. Actually, it's funny because it was right where people used to camp for years and years and years when we used to dirt bike out there. They would literally camp right on top of this. Anyway, they were excavating this one area to reclaim it, and they had some settling ponds there, and they found an old shaft. Not a mine shaft, but not a shaft, but like a cellar. But it went down and went into like a whole underground building. So it was really cool. We heard about this, and I had heard about it on days off. I was out quadding at our sand dunes, and I'd heard that they were finding bird cages and stuff down there. Of course, we weren't supposed to be going down there, but you know how that goes. Everybody was. So we ended up sneaking in on this trip. We went in like at 3 a.m. because this is basically on mine site, right? So we kind of had to sneak in and go and check this out. So anyway, it's kind of cool. At the time, I had that old Pace Arrow, and it was kind of new to me in 2011. I think I had just gotten it a few months prior. And before that, I had the old Scamper, the old 1974 Ford that Chevelle and I had lived in for 4 years off grid, right? And so I don't know why, but I just wanted something bigger. Streaker Steve, he had a big toy hauler. Actually, he had one. His camper is identical to the one I have right now, and he had that camper with a wood stove in it. It just seemed just so much more livable. I was had such a tiny little space to live in with the old Scamper, and so I wanted something bigger. Now, when I bought this motorhome, I had already started renting a place in town here. So I had been living in the bush for 4 years, and now I'm working at the mine. I think, I'm making good money. I think my first year I made something like $90,000 Canadian, which is pretty damn good money for 2011. And really good money, actually. Full benefits, 3 weeks holidays. It was good. They were a great company to work for. And so I just wanted something different. So I ended up selling the old Scamper, and then I found this 1980, I thought it was an 83, but then I looked on the registration, I thought it said 84 or something. But anyways, it was a P30 chassis. I like old stuff, right? And this was an old P30 chassis, Class A, Pace Arrow. It had a 454, 4-barrel carb, like a Rochester carb, with a turbo 400 transmission and a corporate 14 bolt rear end. So it's like the dream team of powertrains go, And man, that 454 had so much more power than my old 394 did. Now the old 390 was a small block, or yeah, I guess it was a small block, and it was a 2-barrel carb. But just the 454 would annihilate it power-wise, right? I mean, the old 390 was pretty good for rev-offs and everything. We used to put pierogies down the exhaust and launch them out I had these exhaust pipes pointing out the back, and we'd launch pierogies up on people's camper. The other guys camping around us, the pierogies would fly up on the roof. It was funny as heck. But anyway, so now I'm in this Class A, and I kind of didn't like it at first. And so this video takes place where it's the first trip. It's the very first trip for this this old motorhome, or at least the first one out to Catamount, like over the divide, the Cardinal Divide. So basically, I'm driving through an old town called Catamount. It's also another coal mining town. Back in the early 20s and 1930s, there was they called it the coal branch, and there was like 7 or 8 little towns or whatever, and there was no roads. It was just connected by train tracks. And so anyways, you'll see in the video, you're gonna see the train tracks that we're driving past and stuff. And so yeah, so I'm getting all sidetracked and rambling on here, but let's get to the video. And it's probably gonna be 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 parts to this particular trip. But you're gonna see a lot of different stuff, so it's gonna be kind of cool. You see some mining, you'll see some history of the place, and some quadding, or on the side by sides. Actually, yeah, one guy had a quad that was camped with me, a guy that I worked with. But anyway, we used to camp out there while we worked. I would camp out there, and I'd work a shift 4 on, 4 off. So Chevelle would come with me, and she'd just stay in the motorhome, and then I'd go to work, and then we'd just go play on our days off and after work. It was just an awesome time in my life. So here we go. Let's get to this video. Well, July 6th, 2011. Just coming through Catamount. That's Denis Ouellette back there. He's got his, what is that, 2010 Chevy. Duramax diesel, and he's got his quad on the back. And I had got the old Pace Arrow, the 1983 Pace Arrow. I just ran the thing on really bad old Condi, and I had to mix it with a bunch of new gas, so it was pinging like crazy. Okay, so I don't even remember that, actually. I don't remember even running that Condi in that motorhome. But so what Condi is natural gas condensate. So I had worked in the oil field prior to this job, and so it actually would have been about two years. So I must have had like a jerry can of it or something. I don't remember. But from time to time, we'd come across this old waste condensate, and we just had to dispose of it. So I started experimenting and seeing if I could burn it in anything. And so what it is it comes right out of the natural gas, and it's like a byproduct. I don't know if you call it, if that's the right name or whatever, but they used to just flare it off, and I guess they used to just kind of waste it. But anyway, and back in the day, guys used to actually burn it for fuel. They called it drip gas. I think I talked about that in a previous video. But anyhow, I must have tried to run it in this 454, and it was pinging because natural gas condensate is really low octane. It's like 70 octane. So I mean, these engines are, that 454 was probably 8.5, 9-to-1 compression. If it was like the Honda 3-wheelers where it was 7-to-1 compression, it would run fine. The old engines from years ago, back in the 30s and 40s, those things were very, very low compression. So they could literally take this stuff right out of the ground, not process it, not do nothing to it, and run it in the engine. It would run fine. I ran it on those old trikes. It ran phenomenal. Like, it ran better than it did on gas because those trikes were low compression engines. The only thing I did was I added 2-stroke oil to the mix just to give it lubricity to lubricate the valves. But anyway, that's what I'm talking about here. That's funny because I don't even remember this and until I watched this video, and I guess I was burning it then too. But when we got up to 140 kilometers an hour by Greg River, Denis couldn't catch me. Well, he probably could have, but he didn't want to go that fast with his truck. But the old Pace Arrow did it, eh, Chevelle? Chevelle just got her new collar today. I gotta put these gauges in, temperature gauge, water temp gauge. But it cruises right along. I got it fully loaded. We're coming out here for a month or so. Me and Denis and Chevelle and his dog Tacoma. Then we're gonna meet Steve and Dave Carrington. Steve Grove, Dave Carrington. They're already out here. I got my side-by-side. So yeah, we're gonna do some riding. This is inland cement. I'm just taking this video so maybe in 10, 15 years from now we'll see how things have changed. A couple weeks ago we came out here and all the rivers are flooded. Washed out the road, the county road here. The Catamount caves are right there. They've been, you can see some ribbons around the entranceway there. They've been blocked off. Apparently the bats have some kind of disease and humans can get it too or something. But you can go in, Chevelle. You're not a human. Hey? Just coming up to Inland Cement. This is our haul road, runs right by here. Inland Hill. We always try and keep this hill watered down just so that the town of Catamount doesn't get too dusted out. We're gonna go camping. Chevelle's sitting right up front. She likes it here. Hey, Chevelle. I just gave myself a mohawk. Just coming back from Stash Fest. So yeah. I don't know if you can see that. So I used to just camp up the road here. Once you get past the mine, I used to camp about, it was actually 6-minute drive from my camp to the mine site. And so instead of driving the hour trip into town, I would just camp out here, right? Well, this is what I used to do. I used to drive the motorhome, and the freaking pots and pans and everything else would be flying out of my cupboards because I'm usually running late. So here I'd leave from camp and I'd go to the mine site, and this is what it looked like, but pots and pans flying. Yeah, they're smiling. They probably don't know that I work there, but coming up to White Horse Creek. I think years ago, I'm not sure, but I think they used to camp down in there. This is the old Pace Arrow's maiden voyage down to, it's gonna be a maiden voyage going over the divide. She runs nice and cool at slow speeds, that's for sure. Lots of oil pressure. So years ago, like prior to 2004, there was always this road that went to this old town site of Mountain Park, but it didn't go right where I am here. It went just off to the right. There's a little bridge just off to the right here. They built that little super tube and stuff because of the campground just to the right. It's called White Horse Campground. And just off the left here, I think it was about 1997, around that time, there was a bunch of kids that went off the bank here, and they actually got killed right down where you're looking there right now. There's a cross and stuff down there. There you can see the old train bridge down there. I always wanted to take a hike down there. I think I'll do it this year. 2 train bridges, one here and just one around the bend there. Still in pretty good shape. Yeah, so I think it was 2019 where me and my buddy and his dog and Chevelle was one of our last big hiking trips. She was just limping along. We went and we hiked. We went up to Prospect Creek and we hiked back this way all along the train bridges. It was pretty sketchy. They're all just about falling down and stuff. It was pretty cool because I'd driven by here so many times over the years, but you can't see over the bank. But what ultimately closed this railway back in the day and then contributed to the mine closing and stuff was there was a big slide here off to the left, and it actually covered the tracks. You can kind of see it there. Okay, we're just coming down Prospect. I don't know if you can see that, but treetops, the tips of the trees are kind of a reddish brown like color. The trees have died. Pretty sure it's a mountain pine beetle. It's funny because at this time there was no talk anywhere that I ever heard of was of the mountain pine beetle, And I noticed it here, and I'm saying in here, it's funny how nobody's reported it and everything. Well, fast forward about 7, 8 years, whatever it was, it just devastated our forests around here, and they ended up just clear cut logging like thousands of miles of bush to try to get rid of it. But it's just funny here how I'm noticing it there, but yet no big scientists or the forest guys or whoever it was. It's funny how they didn't try to put a stop to it back then in 2011. It's almost like they wanted it to. I don't know. It's just the whole thing's kind of bizarre how it just killed our forests, you know.
Nearly as bumpy as it was. There's Prospect Creek. Used to be able to camp in there. You can't camp in there anymore. There's Catamount Mountain. There's Harris Mountain right there. We're just mining below it right now. We just started, oh, I don't know, this spring, I guess, when we started really going in there. Sure is nice country here. It's too bad the mine's here though, because at one time this was a pretty awesome spot just to camp. It was just right here, Mountain Park. Look at those streams.
So back in the day prior to 2004, and like this was the go-to place from everybody from around Hinton, even Edmonton and all around. They used to come here, and this here is coming up right on Mountain Park, right where the town site was. But we used to camp. I remember the very first grizzly bear I ever seen was right to the left of that bridge. I was camped here to the left. There was a little campsite over in here, and a grizzly bear came up onto the hillside there. That was the first grizzly I ever seen in Alberta. But yeah, there's the dog leg right there. That's that big steep climb that goes up to Catamount Mountain. But there's the old train bridge, and yeah, we used to just come out here and camp. There was nothing out here but this. It was just such an awesome place, and it was funny how they kind of closed the area down, and they stopped people from riding all these areas, and they claimed, oh, environmental this and environmental that. It was only because they knew they were going to put a coal mine in here. It's pretty sad how they did it. They should have just explained to the people, you know, like, this is what we want to do. This was traditionally a coal mine area, and I'm sure people would have just been okay with it if, like, there would have been some give and take, you know. But instead they chased people out of here, and they gave everybody tickets and stuff if you went off the trail. It was just handled so poorly. They just had to be honest with the people and tell them what was actually going on here, or what was gonna be going on here.
Prairie Erections. Prairie Erectors is the company name, and my boss or foreman just kept saying over and over again he couldn't get it straight. Prairie Erections. Going through the new tunnel. I think Steve was one of the first people through there. Look at this, eh? It used to just be a dirt bike haven around here, just in this area right here, but now she's all torn up, a new road's put in. We're gonna mine this whole area, so we're getting as much riding in as we can. Rumor has it that they just found an old mine shaft up here. I had to sneak in, and supposedly everything was just left the way it was in the 1913 or something like that. That's what they're saying. That's just, but I don't know. Now the environmental guys have been here. They might have already blocked it off or taken some of the artifacts out. So there's where we used to go up, I think. Yeah, we used to go up in there quadding just last summer. At least they left some of this alone. It's nice.
So there was an old spur line that ran just up to the left here of where this road is now. There used to be the train tracks there. And apparently in that mountain that you'd just seen in the screen before, apparently there's an old train that's buried in there. That's the rumor. I don't know if it's true, but apparently they thought they maybe were going to be coming back. So they just kind of parked the train inside the mountain and then blew the shaft. And that was in 1950, and they never came back. That's an adventure I'd like to go and check out and try to find out. But see those piles right there? Those were the first piles we took off the peak of, like, at the top there near Harris Mountain. And that was the beginning of that, I guess that was where we put the waste from that mine. But the tunnels used to, the mine shafts used to go right from here where you're looking at. Mountain Park Town Site was on the right. The mine shafts were on the left there. And they went straight into Harris Mountain to the left. Well, there's Streaker Steve's old international pickup truck. It was a crew cab short box. I think he's got two XR 500s or something like that in the back, older ones. And I think this was in 1995. And that's his old 14-foot Aloha camper. He lived in that thing while he worked on the oil rigs. And he had a little hippie killer wood stove in there. And he had his beloved dog, a German Shepherd named GJ. And he just loved that dog to death. And that dog ended up living till it was 10 years old, and I believe it passed away on one of these trips that he took out to Mountain Park. I'm pretty sure that's what happened was he woke up one morning, his dog was dead. But yeah, poor Stevie. He used to tear up every time he told me that story. And this is just up on the dog leg there, up towards Cadam Mountain overlooking the mine site.
This was the old Mountain Park staging area here. They're rerouting the creek, I see. And up there, somewhere up in there is that tunnel, I guess. That cement pad used to be right up there. I know exactly where it was. It would have been straight in there. Oh wait, maybe I'm lying. Right there, I guess. There's that cement pad. So by the looks of it here, it looks like they're gonna reroute the creek, and see there's a bunch of steel and shit and junk down in there. I'm wondering if maybe they're gonna, I think we're gonna take out that hill by the looks of it. There used to be an old road that crossed there before. And we're gonna quad in there this weekend, so. Steve says there's a trail up in here somewhere too. It goes up high. There's the Cardinal Divide right there. Cool little streams running everywhere around here. It's just beautiful, beautiful country. Like it's almost a shame that we're mining it. There's a trail that goes back in here too. You can kind of see it. I don't know if it's exploration or not, but I want to try that out. Right here last year, there's a guy camped right there, and a marmot got up on his frame rails and up into his engine compartment, ate every wire under the hood that was there, every wire. His truck would only run on a couple cylinders, and brutal. I had to go in town, and I was going in, getting ready for work, and I had to call him a tow truck there. Pretty crazy. Well, just off night shift, and nobody's driving. Yeah. Just woke up here and was in the back sleeping, and I don't know where my buddy went, but we're driving down the road here, as you can see, and nobody's even driving. So I don't know, I guess back to bed we go. Oh yeah, that's a good load, Terry.
Once in a while.
I guess it's a little tricky, eh? Oh, there it goes. Wakey, wakey. Holy smokes, that's cool. Freaking weird being in the truck for all those years, and finally I get to go on the shovel. So when I started at the mine, when you start out here, you start on those big trucks. That's the first job you start on. And you're supposed to go up in the shovel so you get an idea what's going on there. But they were so crazy wanting to get the coal out of the ground. They just wanted us hauling on the trucks. And so anyways, here I was, 4 years later, 3 years later, wherever it was, finally I get on the shovel. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. One bucket, 110 tons. That's a lot of weight there in that bucket. Oh yeah, cool.
There's the back on the side. Oh, it's coming over there.
Over the top. Clown. There's Dwayne way up there. I don't know if you can see his tail light or not. Well, we're just came down this trail. It's about 9 kilometers from where we're camped. Out in Mountain Park area, Catabin. Close to our mine site, and we're actually, unfortunately, going to be mining this whole valley, which is an absolute shame because pretty wicked country here. This guy has a trap line. He's not too happy about the whole situation. Well, that's it for this video. In the next video, we'll get into more of this trip, and here's some scenes. We ran into some native hunters there. They got themselves a ram, and we gave them a ride off the mountain. There's Dwayne, a guy I used to work with. He came for a rip, and there's old Chevelle, pretty old girl. Boy, she's a beauty dog. But yeah, we'll catch you on the next video, and it'll be part 2 of the Way Back Wednesday. Thanks for watching.